When people search for cheap all-terrain tires, they're not asking for perfection.
We're asking one simple question. Will this get me through most situations safely?
By the end of this video, you'll know 5 budget all-terrain truck tires that actually make sense to buy, and exactly when each one works, and when it doesn't. Here's a real-world scenario. A mid-size pickup truck, brand new all-terrain tires, light load, slow approach to a wet, slightly muddy boat ramp. No aggressive throttle, no worn tread, no obvious mistake. And yet, the rear steps out.
Not violently, just enough to make you pause and think.
That shouldn't have happened. On paper, this setup should have worked. The tires were marketed as all-terrain. The tread looked aggressive enough. The driver wasn't pushing it. And if you checked online reviews, you'd probably see great for the price.
This is where most reviews stop.
They assume that if a tire feels fine in dry conditions, it must be fine everywhere else. That assumption is where budget all-terrain tires quietly get misunderstood. Because the real weakness of cheap AT tires isn't what they do wrong every day. It's what they do wrong occasionally. Cold rain, packed slush, polished dirt, wet concrete, moments where grip changes faster than the tire can adapt.
And physics doesn't care how much money you saved.
Here's the part most buyers never think about. Budget all-terrain tires usually save money in 3 places: harder rubber compounds, simpler tread block design, and fewer or shallower sipes. None of this shows up during a calm test drive. On dry roads, they feel stable. On light trails, they feel capable. But when the surface changes suddenly,
that compromise becomes very real.
And notice, we still haven't named a single tire yet.
Everything we've said so far is true, but it's also incomplete.
Because some budget all-terrain tires manage these compromises far better than others. So let's look at real examples. Not as winners or losers, but as case studies. Quick check, before I show the actual tires. If you've ever had a tire that felt perfectly fine until one specific situation exposed its limit, comment what that situation was. Wet, concrete, slush, mud, ice. I read those because real patterns matter more than spec sheets. If you're watching on TV, just remember the surface. I'll reference these patterns in future videos. Case Study 1. Radar Renegade AT5. This tire is popular for a reason. Good off-road bite. Better wet traction than you'd expect for the price. Where it struggles is temperature transitions. Cold rain into slush exposes the harder compound. You feel it as a slight delay. The steering goes light for half a second when you transition from wet pavement into slush. Great for mild climates, less forgiving when winter surfaces mix. Case Study 2. Laufen X Fit AT. This one prioritizes comfort, quiet, stable, very daily driver friendly. But the tread isn't designed for aggressive bite. Mud and slick transitions are not its strength. On the highway, it stays calm and quiet, but in mud, you hear the tire spin before you feel it bite. If your truck lives on the road, this works. If it lives off it, look elsewhere. Case Study 3. Nexen Roadian AT Pro. This is the consistency pick. Predictable handling, often backed by a mileage warranty. But ice and packed slush remind you, this is still a budget compound. Braking feels predictable, but ABS engages earlier than you expect when the surface turns slick. Reliable, not exceptional. Case Study 4. General Grabber ATX. More rugged construction, often carries a snow rating, feels tougher under load. The trade-off is wet grip, not unsafe, just noticeable. Under load, the tire feels planted, but on wet asphalt, you notice the tread doesn't clear water as quickly. This one favors durability over finesse. Case Study 5. Ironman All Country AT. This is the ultra-budget option. Dry roads? Fine. Light dirt? Fine. But polished surfaces and thin ice expose its limits quickly. The first warning isn't noise or vibration. It's the rear stepping out smoothly before you expect it. This tire only works if you understand where its edge is. So no, the lesson isn't don't buy cheap tires. The lesson is cheap tires demand honest expectations. Verdict. Here's the short list. Best overall budget balance, Radar Renegade AT5. Best daily driver comfort, Laufen X Fit AT. Best warranty-focused value, Nexen Roadian AT Pro. Best rugged mixed-use option, General Grabber A/TX. Best ultra-budget conditional buy, Ironman All Country AT. All 5 are worth buying, if they match how and where you drive. Where people get into trouble is assuming all-terrain means no compromises. It never has. That sliding truck at the beginning, nothing was broken, nothing was defective. The tire simply reached the edge of its design. And if you don't know where that edge is, you only find it when it's too late.